When I am helping somebody choose a van for mom, dad, or the grandkids, I do not start with leather or a giant screen. I start with the engine, the transmission, the rust line, and the service folder. These 8 vans are cheap for different reasons. Number 1 is the one I would inspect first. Number 8, Chevrolet Uplander LT Extended 2008. Before you laugh at the plastic cladding, open the hood and look for dried coolant. That check decides whether this is a $3,000 family van or a money pit. I would target the 2008 Chevrolet Uplander LT Extended with the 3.9-liter pushrod V6, front-wheel drive, and old-school 4-speed automatic. Kelley Blue Book currently puts clean title private party LT extended vans between roughly $3,275 and $4,225, depending on condition. That low price is the whole reason it belongs here. Buyers want an Odyssey or Sienna badge, so the Chevy gets ignored even when it still has room for 7, rear air, and a familiar GM repair path. The 3.9 uses port fuel injection, overhead valves, and no turbo. The 4-speed is old, but ordinary shops understand it. That is a simple design advantage, but it is not a free pass. A van with neglected fluid can still become a risky project. That does not make this van a miracle. It makes the repair path more familiar than a cheap luxury crossover with a dead touchscreen and no parts support. I would skip 2005 through 2007 examples with no cooling system records, and I would avoid any passenger van converted for cargo or wheelchair duty without paperwork. The old warning is coolant leakage around the intake and crossover area. Get a flashlight under the hood and look for dried orange crust, wet hoses, or a sweet smell after the engine is hot. Hold the brake, shift from park into drive and reverse, then feel for a hard slam. Take it 20 minutes, not 2 blocks, and watch for a flare after it warms up. Crawl beside the rocker panels, rear suspension mounts, and brake lines. Flaky metal is a red flag, not a negotiating game. Finally, run the sliding door, rear hatch, rear air, and every tire date code. A cheap van on old tires is not cheap. It is a safety bill waiting for the highway. Buy the Uplander only when mom or dad needs inexpensive local hauling, a high roof, and 7 seats without image pressure. Walk away. If warm shifts slip, coolant is disappearing, or the underside looks like a rust museum, the next van costs more, but it gives an older driver a tall windshield, easy city visibility, and a passenger layout most people mistake for a work truck. If this kind of practical buying advice saves you money, subscribe. We check repair paths, service records, and real costs before the seller starts talking. Number 7. Ford Transit Connect Passenger Wagon, 2014 through 2016. Your dad may not need a giant SUV. He may need a van that fits a grocery store space, opens with 2 sliding doors, and does not sit like a school bus. That is where the long wheelbase Ford Transit Connect passenger wagon makes sense. Focus on the 7-passenger long wheelbase wagon with the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder and 6-speed automatic. Skip cargo-only vans and skip short wheelbase 1.6-liter EcoBoost examples when the low price is the main attraction. Ford offered the long wheelbase passenger layout with seating for 7, and the 2.5 uses port fuel injection with a conventional 6-speed automatic. No CVT, no complicated hybrid system, no turbo heat to ignore on a high-mile family van. That is the value, but the inspection is where you protect the wallet. A bent track or failed park position turns easy ownership into trouble. Kelley Blue Book shows that a 2014 passenger wagon usually starts around the upper $6,000 range, so anything under $7,000 is normally higher mile, rougher, or local market specific. That is not a problem when the records are good. It is a problem when somebody calls a worn-out delivery van a family value. The market overlooks this one because the body looks commercial. Smart buyers see the advantage. Tall glass, square doors, a low step in height, and a smaller parking footprint than a full minivan. The weak point I would verify before anything else is the shifter cable bushing. Ford recalled certain Transit Connects because the cable connection could cause the gear indicator to disagree with the actual transmission position, including a park risk. Run the VIN through NHTSA first. Then, with the brake held, move slowly through park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Put it in park on a slight incline, release the brake carefully, and make sure the van truly holds. Open both doors again and again. Look at the tracks for bent metal, roller noise, or a door that needs a shove. Check rear seat latches, tire dates, and the cargo floor for commercial abuse. Inspect the underside for rust, especially around suspension mounts. This is a simple choice for a parent who values visibility, easy parking, and occasional grandkid duty. It is not for towing 7 full-size adults or someone expecting luxury car quiet. A clean passenger wagon can be a secret bargain, but a neglected fleet history can become an expensive correction. The next van looks strange enough to scare buyers away, but it gives you a V6 and a real 5-speed automatic instead of the later CVT. Number 6. Nissan Quest S, SL or SE, 2007 through 2009. Most people see this van and decide it looks like a rolling kitchen appliance. I see a 3.5-liter V6 and a 5-speed automatic that the later Quest gave up. Target the 2007 through 2009 Nissan Quest S, SL, or SE, all with front-wheel drive and the conventional 5-speed automatic. Nissan's own information lists the older Quest with that V6 and 5-speed, while the later 2011 through 2016 Quest moved to a CVT. That is why I would avoid the later vans for this particular list. The older Quest is cheap because the styling divided buyers. The model disappeared, and many shoppers hear Nissan and assume every transmission is the same. It is not. Kelley Blue Book puts a clean title 2008 Quest in the roughly $2,600 to $3,600 private party zone, based on trim and condition. That price can leave real room for fluids, brakes, tires, and a pre-purchase inspection. Use those savings in your wallet for a simple baseline: fresh fluid, a careful brake check, and tires. That is cheaper than pretending a tired van is a survivor. The V6 is not special because it has magic parts. It matters because it is naturally aspirated, paired with a stepped automatic, and installed in a van that lost resale value faster than its practical space. The known checks here are campaign history, brake feel, and door operation. Nissan ran a fuel gauge campaign on certain older Quests, and some 2008 and 2009 vans had brake pedal recall work. Key it on, watch the fuel gauge wake up, and run the VIN before you hand over money. Press the brake pedal hard while parked. It should feel firm and stable, not sink or feel loose. Then drive it fully warm, and pay attention to every shift. A smooth first 5 minutes proves nothing. Run both sliding doors, look under the cargo mat for water stains, and inspect the rockers before you admire the clean paint. Rust, old tires, and stale brake fluid can turn a low-dollar Quest into a risky first year. This one fits a budget-conscious family that needs room, likes a lower buy-in, and has a dependable local shop. Skip it. If the campaign history is vague, the doors hesitate, or the seller will not allow a real road test. The next van has the same forgotten badge discount, but its seats fold into the floor, and its parts network is almost impossible to miss. Number 5. Dodge Grand Caravan SE or SXT, 2015 through 2017. Before you ask about the price, fold the seats into the floor. That one physical test tells you whether this is a family tool or a worn-out rental special. I would look for a 2015 through 2017 Dodge Grand Caravan SE or SXT with a 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 front-wheel drive and 62 TE 6-speed automatic. Kelley Blue Book puts a 2015 SE around $4,800 to $6,700 in private party condition. The lower listings usually bring higher miles, old tires, rental use, or skipped maintenance. The clean family van is the better value, even if it costs several $100s more. The Grand Caravan gets priced below an Odyssey because of fleet stigma, and because plenty of buyers remember older Chrysler transmission trouble. That reputation is exactly why you must not buy the first cheap one. The engine is common, the parts network is huge, and Stow & Go turns the van into a useful cargo machine without removing heavy seats. That is why a mechanic can trust the right one. The weak point is the warm behavior of the 62 TE Chrysler. Issued a bulletin for some 2015 vans built during a specific period that could shift harshly under acceleration. I would not scare myself with a bulletin alone, but I would never ignore a hard shift. Paul is a retired postal worker with $5,700 for a van. He finds two 2015 Grand Caravans. The cheaper one shifts hard after 20 minutes. He pays $600 more for the one with records, cold rear air, and smooth operation. That is the cheaper decision after purchase. Drive the van until fully warm, then roll into the throttle and feel every upshift and downshift. Look around the transmission lines and radiator area for wetness. Fold every Stow & Go seat, latch it, release it, and make sure no hinge needs a kick. Run both sliding doors, rear hatch, rear air conditioning, and all the windows. A dead door motor is not always a walk-away problem, but it changes the repair price. Buy this one for grandkids, hardware store duty, and a parent who wants easy parts access. Skip it if the transmission flares, the seat latches bind, or the van smells like it spent 10 years as a rental. The next one is smaller, older, and less popular, but its low entry price can leave room to correct one known weakness before it becomes trouble. Subscribe if you want the truth before the test drive. We focus on comfort, repair access, and the checks that keep a cheap van cheap. Number 4. Hyundai Entourage GLS 2007 through 2008. You do not buy this one because it will impress anybody. You buy it because the market forgot it before the drivetrain had a chance to become expensive. Target the 2007 or 2008 Hyundai Entourage GLS with the 3.8-liter V6 and conventional 5-speed automatic. Hyundai listed that exact powertrain when new. Kelley Blue Book puts a 2008 GLS roughly between $2,475 and $3,250 in private party condition, while a cleaner limited can cost more. That is compact car money for a true 3-row van. It is cheap because Hyundai quit selling it after a short run, not because every example is automatically broken. The V6 is naturally aspirated, and the 5-speed automatic avoids CVT hardware and complicated turbo plumbing. That does not make it a guaranteed survivor. It simply leaves a more familiar mechanical path for an independent shop. The weak point I would look for is transmission temperature sensor trouble. Hyundai published diagnostic information for temperature sensor fault codes, and a stored code can point you toward wiring, connector, or internal transmission concerns. Bring a scanner. A stored code, a hard downshift, and a noisy door are a red flag. That makes the low price expensive for parents. Check for transmission-related stored codes before you drive it. Then drive it until the fluid is warm. Feel for a shudder or delayed downshift, and watch whether the transmission behaves differently after stop-and-go traffic. Use the remote, dash button, and inside handles to operate both sliding doors. A door that reverses, squeals, or needs help deserves a red flag. Lift the rear mat and inspect the spare tire well for dampness. Then crawl low enough to check the rockers and rear floor for rust. Read tire dates. A van this cheap can still need tires, brakes, and shocks on day one, which can erase the headline price fast. This is a value choice for a family that needs a real minivan without the Honda tax and has a shop nearby. Walk away when the transmission has stored codes, the doors fight you, or the body hides crusty metal. The next van has more leather, more power equipment, and more ways for a seller to distract you from the one test that matters. Number 3. Chrysler Town and Country Touring 2015. The leather and power doors are not the reason to buy this Chrysler. They are the reason you test every switch before one cheap van becomes an expensive electrical project. Target the 2015 Chrysler Town and Country Touring with the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6, front-wheel drive, and 62 TE 6-speed automatic. Kelley Blue Book currently places a private party touring between about $5,700 and $7,350, depending on condition. That means the cleanest ones can press against the budget, while tired ones look tempting for the wrong reason. The market punishes this van because Chrysler depreciation is real, and shoppers know the Grand Caravan shares its bones. That gives buyers real value: leather, stow-and-go seating, rear entertainment on many vans, and power doors for less than a similarly equipped Odyssey. The 3.6 V6 is common. The automatic is common, and independent shops know the layout. The trust part is not blind faith. It is knowing exactly what to test. The same family of 2015 vans had a documented harsh shift bulletin for a narrow build range, so take every warm shift seriously. Run each power sliding door 5 times from the key fob, interior switch, and exterior handle. Test front and rear air conditioning, each window, seat adjustment, audio control, rear screen, and power liftgate if equipped. Look under the stow-and-go bins for water or broken hinges. Then take it on a real road, drive it until warm, and feel for a flare when it downshifts or engages drive. I would rather buy a plain touring with every feature working than a loaded limited with one bad door, one dead screen, and a seller calling it normal. Those small failures turn a cheap luxury-feeling van into a project. This works for parents who want comfort, a lower loading floor, and enough equipment to make long trips easier. Skip it. If the transmission talks back, the doors are slow, or the feature list becomes a repair list. The next van is newer, carries a longer factory-backed door history, and can cost less than the Honda people chase without checking. Number 2. Kia Sedona LX, 2015 through 2017. When a newer van costs less than the older Honda beside it, do not celebrate yet. Stand at both sliding doors and make them close correctly. Target the 2015 through 2017 Kia Sedona LX or EX with the 3.3-liter gasoline direct injection V6 and electronically controlled 6-speed automatic. Kia confirms that the powertrain across those years. There is no CVT here, and that matters because the transmission uses regular fixed gears rather than a belt and pulley design. Kelley Blue Book puts a 2015 LX in roughly the $5,200 to $6,700 private party range, depending on miles, condition, and location. That is often less than a similar year Odyssey, partly because Kia depreciation is heavier, and partly because buyers forget this Sedona is a true van, not a flimsy budget special. The mechanical reason to consider it is not that direct injection is perfect. It is that the engine and 6-speed automatic give you a newer chassis, regular automatic shifting, and a conventional family van layout without a premium badge price. The known danger is the power sliding door system. Kia documented drive unit and latching problems on some 2015 through 2017 Sedonas. The door can sound like it is closing, yet fail to reach the second latch. That is a safety concern, not a cosmetic annoyance. Kia extended coverage on certain vans, but you still verify eligibility by VIN and test the hardware yourself. Lena finds two 2015 Sedonas for around $6,000. The cheaper one has a right door that reverses twice before latching. She buys the clean LX with working doors and records. Her lesson is simple. A door test protects the wallet. Open and close both doors with the fob, interior buttons, and handles. Watch the door sit flush, listen for stick-slip noise, and confirm the dash does not show an open door warning after closure. Start it cold, listen for a rough idle, then drive it warm through every gear. Test rear air, cargo floor hardware, and tire dates. This is the newer value choice for a family that wants modern comfort without a Honda price premium. Walk away. When the doors hesitate, the service folder is empty, or an upper trim pushes the price past the savings. The number 1 van costs more when it is clean, but it earns that extra money with a 6-speed automatic, better resale, and one warning sign every smart buyer must catch before signing. If this list has already stopped one bad purchase, subscribe. We build smarter buyers with real prices, real inspections, and no dealer payment talk upfront. Number 1. Honda Odyssey LX or EX, 2014 through 2017. The Odyssey is not number 1 because everyone is perfect. It is number 1 because the clean ones make the most sense after you check the issue. Sellers hope you never notice. I would target the 2014 through 2017 Honda Odyssey LX or EX with the 3.5-liter J35Z, 8, V6 and 6-speed automatic. Honda made the 6-speed standard across the 2014 lineup, which is why I prefer these over the 2011 through 2013 non-touring vans with the older 5-speed. Edmunds and Kelley Blue Book both show that a clean title 2014 LX or EX can still land near $7,000 when it has high miles, normally around 140,000 to 190,000 miles. Do not expect a dealer-perfect one at that number. Look for a documented private party van with honest miles, decent tires, and a seller willing to give you time to inspect it. The Odyssey costs more because it usually holds its nameplate value better than a Grand Caravan, Entourage, or Quest. But a high-mile, well-kept Odyssey can beat a low-mile van that sat for years with old tires, old fluid, and no records. The mechanical value is not magic. It is a naturally aspirated V6, a conventional 6-speed automatic, wide parts availability, and a chassis built around real family use. That gives you a more familiar repair path than a complicated luxury crossover with 3 rows squeezed into a shorter body. The known warning is oil use and misfires related to piston ring issues on certain affected vans. Honda documents that oil can foul plugs and trigger P0301 through P0304 misfire codes. The warranty extension expired in January of 2026, so a buyer today should not assume free coverage. Check the oil level before the test drive. Ask the seller when it was last topped off and how much it uses between changes. Scan for stored or pending misfire codes. Start it cold and listen for a rough idle. Then drive it long enough to judge every warm shift, not just the first smooth mile. Run both power doors, rear air, rear seat latches, sunshade if equipped, and every tire date code. Ray is a retired electrician who finds a 2014 Odyssey for $6,800 with 165,000 miles. He checks the oil, scans for misfires, and pays for an inspection before buying. The lesson is that records and oil level beat a low odometer. The Odyssey is the #1 choice for parents who need real comfort, usable third-row access, parts support, and resale strength. It is not the choice for a buyer who refuses a long test drive or has no reserve for repairs. Walk away when the oil is low. The misfire history is vague. The doors fail. The transmission hesitates. Warm, or the seller acts offended by basic questions. A clean Odyssey is not exciting because it has a giant screen. It is exciting because mom can get in easily, the grandkids fit, the air is cold, and the van can make a long trip without turning every warning light into a money pit. Every van on this list can save money, but only when you buy condition, not the badge. Here is the fast way I would sort them. Buyer roadmap. The Chevrolet Uplander is the ultra-low-budget local family van. Buy it for space and a familiar GM repair path, but inspect coolant traces, rust, tire dates, and warm 4-speed shifts before calling it a deal. The Ford Transit Connect passenger wagon suits a parent who values visibility and easy parking. Verify the shifter bushing recall, park function, passenger seats, door tracks, and commercial use wear before you buy. The Nissan Quest is the odd-looking V6 bargain for a family that needs room at a low entry price. Confirm fuel gauge campaign work, brake pedal history, door operation, underfloor dryness, and warm shifts. The Dodge Grand Caravan is the cargo flexibility choice for grandkids, groceries, and home projects. Test every stow-and-go latch, both doors, rear air, and 20-minute transmission behavior. The Hyundai Entourage is the forgotten badge value van for a household with a dependable local shop. Scan for transmission temperature codes, test the doors, inspect the rear floor, and look under the rockers before discussing price. The Chrysler Town & Country is the comfort-first pick for parents who want power doors and extra equipment. Make every switch, screen, latch, climate setting, and warm shift prove itself before you pay for leather. The Kia Sedona is the newer-feeling family bargain when both sliding doors latch correctly. Test each door repeatedly. Verify VIN eligibility for service work. Check rear air, and avoid an upper trim that erases the price advantage. The Honda Odyssey is the all-around parent choice when oil history and maintenance records are solid. Check the dipstick, scan for misfires, run the doors and rear air, inspect tire dates, and take a long, warm drive. A great engine does not save a neglected van. Buy the records, inspect the weak points, check every door, and leave room for catch-up maintenance. Click the next video playing on your screen right now. It covers cheap family vehicles that look safe, then reveals expensive mistakes. Subscribe, protect your wallet, and shop calmer tomorrow.